Welcome back to my channel. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an update, and check out my Patreon for extra content and behind-the-scenes perks. When I looked at my reflection that morning, I felt a wave of disbelief. My stomach twisted with embarrassment. I wished I could stay seated forever and avoid stepping outside, but that wasn't an option. "Get up," Mom said gently. "We need to get you ready." "I'm not going to school like this," I protested. "You don't really have a choice," she replied. A few days earlier, 2 of my friends and I had pulled a stupid prank at our church school. We tampered with the door to the girls' locker room while some students were inside. When the adults discovered what happened, the reaction was anything but amused. Eventually, one of my friends confessed, and all 3 of us were caught. The punishment was unusual and humiliating. For 2 weeks, I had to follow a strict set of rules at school meant to remind me about respect and responsibility. Everyone knew what we had done, and everyone knew we were being disciplined. That morning was the first day. Mom had helped fix my hair neatly and made sure I looked presentable before sending me out the door. My dad stood nearby, arms crossed, making sure I didn't try to argue again. When I finally stepped outside, the cool air hit my face. My heart pounded as I began walking towards school. At the corner, 2 girls from my class approached me. They weren't laughing like I expected. Instead, they simply introduced themselves and offered to walk with me. "Come on," one of them said kindly. "We're heading the same way." The walk to school felt longer than usual. I was sure everyone was staring. When I entered my classroom, the chatter faded. A few students whispered, but most simply watched quietly while I took my seat. The rest of the day passed slowly. After school, the same girls walked me home. They didn't tease me. They just talked about normal things: classes, homework, and upcoming tests. When I stepped inside the house, Mom asked how the day went. I tried to answer, but the emotions finally caught up with me. Tears came before words. She listened quietly, then said something I hadn't expected. "Do you understand why we made you face today?" "To punish me?" I asked. "Partly," she said. "But mostly to teach you something important: humility. Everyone deserves respect. When we forget that, sometimes we have to learn the hard way." Her words stayed with me. The next day at school felt a little easier. The same girls greeted me like it was normal. My friends who had been punished alongside me looked just as uncomfortable as I felt the day before. Slowly, the embarrassment faded, replaced by something else: understanding. I realized that sometimes the hardest lessons are the ones we remember the longest. And from that day forward, I made sure to stay out of trouble. The principal folded her hands on the desk and looked at me thoughtfully. "Your punishment was supposed to end soon," she said, "but the incident today complicates things." "But I didn't start the fight," I insisted. "He pulled my strap first." "I understand," she replied calmly. Several students confirmed that. "However, we warned you to avoid physical confrontation." "But that's not fair," I muttered. I reacted without thinking. She sighed. "That's exactly the point. The lesson here is self-control. Still, because you were provoked, I'll shorten the extension. Instead of 2 extra months, it will only be 1. I slumped in the chair. 1 month still felt like forever. "Next time," she added gently, "walk away." I nodded reluctantly. From that day forward, I kept my head down and focused on getting through each school day without drawing attention. My clothing still followed the same rules the school had set as part of my punishment: skirts or dresses that matched the girls' uniform guidelines. At first, it had been humiliating. Every step felt like everyone was watching me. But after a while, something unexpected happened. People stopped reacting. Classes continued. Homework piled up. Life moved on. Mom even started helping me learn practical things at home: cooking simple meals, organizing chores, and taking better care of myself. She said responsibility came in many forms. Gradually, I also found myself talking more with some of the girls in my classes. They treated me surprisingly normally. Instead of teasing me, they included me in conversations about assignments, school clubs, and weekend plans. Meanwhile, the 2 friends who had been punished with me didn't handle things as well. They got into more trouble after being caught cheating on a test and ended up facing stricter consequences. By the start of my 3rd week, things had settled into a strange kind of routine. Then Monday afternoon changed everything. A classmate named Kenny approached me near the lockers. "Hey," he said awkwardly. "Are you going to the dance this Saturday?" I shook my head. "Probably not." "Oh." He hesitated, then blurted out, "Would you Maybe go with me? Before I could even answer, the principal happened to pass by and overheard the question. She paused and smiled thoughtfully. That sounds like a wonderful idea, she said. Attending the dance might help complete this learning experience. My stomach dropped. I expect to see you there, she added before walking away. Kenny looked excited. I did not. Our school dances were basically small versions of prom. They happened every couple of months and everyone treated them like a big event. Music, decorations, and students dressed in their best outfits. The thought of going while still under my punishment made my anxiety skyrocket. But refusing the principal wasn't really an option. When I got home that evening, I told Mom what had happened. Instead of being upset, she seemed intrigued. Well, she said, grabbing her keys, it sounds like we have some shopping to do. The next afternoon we went to the mall. I dreaded it because so many students from our school hung out there. Walking through the crowded hallways felt like stepping onto a stage. Mom, however, acted completely normal. She guided me from store to store looking at different formal outfits. You don't have to enjoy it, she told me gently. But sometimes stepping outside your comfort zone teaches you more than staying safe. Eventually we found something simple and appropriate for the dance. As we headed home, I couldn't stop thinking about Saturday night. Part of me still wanted the whole situation to disappear. But another part of me, one I didn't expect, was starting to wonder what might actually happen. And whether, by the end of this strange month, I might walk away having learned more than just how embarrassing punishment could be. Over the past few weeks my hair had been gradually lightened until it became a soft blonde shade, just like the picture I had shown at the salon. It was also longer now. I was still staring at the unfamiliar reflection when Mom gently took my hand and guided me to the manicurist. Without saying much, the woman carefully trimmed and shaped my nails. They had grown longer during the last 3 weeks. When she finished filing them smooth, she painted them with a muted reddish-brown polish filled with tiny silver flecks that shimmered whenever the light hit them. I kept watching myself in the mirror. "Emmy, you look wonderful," Mom said with clear satisfaction. "Yes, she really does," the hairstylist added. "And the best part is that after the dance her hair will settle into a beautiful page boy style. The curls will fall neatly in the back and the sides will frame her face." She examined my hair again before continuing. "The perm will also make it easier to take care of. With normal upkeep it should last until school starts again." "Perm?" I repeated, startled. The stylist smiled reassuringly. "It'll look great for about 6 months. After that we just refresh it." 6 months. My mind spun at the thought. That meant months of continuing the role I had stepped into. Mom noticed the look on my face. "Remember what we talked about, Emmy. I let you make the decision yourself. But choices come with consequences. This is the style you chose." Her words settled heavily on me. On the way home I wanted to ask why she had allowed everything to go this far, but deep down I already suspected the answer. Mom had always wanted a daughter and somehow I had ended up filling that place. Before we reached the house she spoke again, almost gently. "For 3 weeks you've been living this way," she said. "You may not see it yet, but others do. Your mannerisms, the way you talk, the way you carry yourself, it all looks natural now." She paused. "When we get home, stand in front of the mirror and really look at yourself. Then tell me what you think." When we walked inside, Dad glanced up and his jaw dropped in surprise. I hurried past him and went straight to my room. Following Mom's instructions, I stood in front of the mirror. From head to toe, the person staring back at me didn't resemble the boy I remembered. Even when I tried to search for familiar traces, they were hard to find. My freshly painted nails flashed when I lifted my hand to my hair. Slowly, a small smile appeared on my face. Mom stepped into the room just then and saw me standing there. Our reflections met in the mirror. "Come on," she said softly. "Let's finish getting you ready." Soon I was dressed for the evening. I carefully applied makeup at the vanity while Mom watched. Foundation, powder, soft eye colors, and a bit of blush. Then came the dress, the shoes, and a few small accessories that completed the outfit. When everything was finished, Mom handed me a little perfume bottle. I dabbed it lightly and then applied bright lipstick. She hugged me and took a few pictures. "You'll have a wonderful time tonight," she said warmly. After that she told me to wait upstairs until she called for me. I checked my purse, school ID, some money, lipstick, then glanced at the mirror once more. The same unfamiliar girl stared back, smiling with a quiet kind of confidence. A moment later Mom called my name. I counted to 20 like she told me, then walked downstairs. Kenny was waiting with my parents. When he saw me, he froze for a second before breaking into a wide smile. He handed me a small corsage, and after a few more pictures we headed out. At the dance, the room was full of music, laughter, and bright lights. Kenny stayed by my side the whole evening. We talked with friends, drank soda, and spent most of the night on the dance floor. During the final slow song, the lights dimmed and Kenny leaned closer. "Emmy," he said quietly. I looked up at him, and for a moment everything felt strangely simple and clear. Later, when he dropped me off at home, I stepped inside feeling thoughtful but calm. That night, as I changed and settled into bed, my thoughts drifted back over the past few weeks. The salon visits, the new routines, the way everything had slowly started to feel normal. Mom probably believed the perm had been her idea alone, but I had noticed the small note on the form at the salon earlier that day. "Perm required." I closed my eyes with a faint smile. Tomorrow would come soon enough. For now, I simply drifted off to sleep, still wondering what the months ahead would bring for Emily.